Well, I also think, obviously, we know about black voter suppression, but I remember in the primaries, particularly the Democratic primaries in Texas, and I believe other states, I mean, the lines at these college campuses were hours I mean, obviously, young people, a lot of them wait too long to register, this and that. But you were seeing in Texas lines at college campuses 4, 5, 6 hours. Also seems kind of intentional to me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the big reasons for it, there's a couple reasons for this. Yeah, going after the young voter. I got to tell you, that's the story of this race, is the attack on young voters. I've never seen it like this. And so, and it started with 16 really in full force. So that in Texas, one of the reasons why you had massive lines at schools. Well, one, you have schools there with over 100,000 students, add in faculty and related services people, and you got 200,000 people. They're cities. And they either have no voting station. I'm working with the Andrew Goodman Foundation on that issue. You have some states like Florida and North Carolina prohibited voting on campuses. And these campuses, some of them are bigger than most American cities. So obviously you have to, like, in fact, again, in Georgia, my daughter in Savannah, okay, her school didn't have a single voting station. She had to take like a $12 Uber ride to get to the convention center to vote. This is the games that they play. And in Texas, as in Wisconsin, one of the reasons for the lines is that you need a state photo ID to vote. And they didn't let you use your student ID. You could use your gun permit. You could use your driver's license. But, most students actually don't have cars and don't have licenses, or they have an out-of-state license. So you couldn't use your student license at all in Texas. So kids would get to the front of the line. They say, "Where's your ID?" They show their state ID. It's University of Texas state ID. But they say, "No, you can't use that to vote." So then they have to go have fights, look for other ID, and then, of course, get the provisional ballot, where you get to fill out your own SAT.
Right.
And it gets thrown in the garbage after you fill out that. So that takes a long time. So that holds up the lines. They know that. And in Wisconsin, they pulled the same trick. You can't use the regular university ID. 182,000 University of Wisconsin students were disenfranchised like that. 50,000 African Americans disenfranchised like that by the change in the ID laws in Wisconsin. So Biden squeaked by because, in part, the reason why it wasn't a landslide is that this trickery with the ID laws in Wisconsin. So, and in Texas, same thing. So they are really going after young voters. And in Florida, there was a fight. They allowed some counties to put voting stations in schools and campuses. But in fact, the local county had to agree to it. And obviously the GOP counties are like, make them take cabs, make them march 4 miles.
And lastly, I mean, we still have 2 runoffs in Georgia. You broke with the ACLU that they've purged 200,000 people. Is it pie in the sky to think that some of that might be remedied before the runoffs?
Let me tell you, we wouldn't be talking about the runoff if it weren't for the massive program of returning these people to the voter rolls. I worked not only with the ACLU, but with Black Voters Matter, which took our list of people wrongly purged and sent out 98,000 postcards.
Wow.
Saying you've lost your vote, re-register now. We also had massive media op-eds. We really pushed, and of course, again, it doesn't hurt that Leo DiCaprio's site, Leo DiCaprio and his site, released our films, which got tremendous coverage. So we use everything. We use videos, we use Instagram, we use postcards, we use telephone calls, working with the Southern Poverty Law Center. So you have to understand, what people saw in Georgia was the effect of a massive, massive, massive voter protection drive returning people to the voter rolls, exposing it, saying you may have lost your vote, check. And so, yeah, so I think now we have till December 7th to get more people registered or back on the voter rolls. See, the worst thing about the purges is you don't know you've been purged. In other words, if you lost your registration, you knew it, well, okay, it's not that difficult to re-register. But what if you don't know it's been purged? It's like if someone stole your wallet, you got a pickpocket, you don't know it, you don't realize it till you go to reach for your wallet later. Right. So now it's election day and they tell you you're off the voter rolls. You know, I was at this polling station with a guy, broadcaster in Atlanta named Raheem Shabazz. He was knocked off the rolls. So he said, oh, here, take a provisional ballot, fill this out, which if you're not registered, the federal law requires that you get a provisional ballot. State law prohibits you from having that ballot counted. Right. So, I kid you not. So, you know, but they did give him a little sticker that says, I voted, with a little Georgia peach on it. So he says, I got the sticker. And he says, so his vote, his provisional ballot was about as valuable as the sticker is to a real peach. You know, as he said, what am I supposed to do with this? Eat it? So there you go. So we accomplished a lot already. We have a lot more to accomplish. We have a lot more to accomplish now. And that's the thing. And again, it's not about electing the Democrat or whatever. It's about literally allowing people to vote. Well said. GregPalast.com? GregPalast.com. And also, you not only get the films and the books, but you can also download our comic book, 48 pages I did with the great comic artist Ted Rall, free download, called The Art of the Steal. And it's about how they've been stealing these elections. And for God's sake, go to GregPalast.com and check your registration. And I also, you're in Georgia. And if you're not in Georgia, by the way, you know, this is not a bad time to think about, once again, in case things screwed up, check your registration again. And I also want to credit you because as an independent journalist, you know, a couple years younger, I also have dealt with major investigations that you can't get these corporate outlets to touch. So the fact that you continue, even going international outlets, to investigate these things when these outlets in America that should be all over this, you know, give you the backside. We really appreciate your determination. I really appreciate that you're taking this word out. So you guys are great. Thanks a lot. All right. Thanks, Greg. Bye. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.